Anfield last year, and Trossard went up there.
I mean, we're talking about the difference in Kai and Jesus, not.
I'm just saying. I'm being devil's advocate. I think you're downplaying Jesus a bit there. I've got a job to, do my job,
well,
Jess, man.
I'm just saying that, like, I just think that Kai Havertz does a better job at occupying center backs.
No, I hear that. That's right. And I think you made a great point in that. I think you actually said it on the last live stream. Go and check that out. Where when you deep it, it's almost like playing up front for Arsenal Football Club it's almost like a selfless job. Like, obviously Kai Havertz has scored and had goal scoring opportunities. Jesus has scored in an Arsenal shirt, and Trossard's generally done well. But you have to occupy the centre backs. You have to occupy the spaces. You have to drop into midfield and allow other players to benefit from that. Which is why, when we're linked with Ivan Toney, with the Sporting lad, with Osimhen, I find it intriguing, specifically looking at what Mikel Arteta would demand from a striker, because none of these strikers are alike. Obviously, they score goals, but it's not like an Arsenal forward just stands up front in the box and just waits for opportunities. You can't do that. Now, maybe Arteta tweaks and changes things when a new striker comes in, but it does make it delicate, really. On that as well, what do you make of the strikers that we've been linked with? Because, I know your thoughts on Ivan Toney, but maybe other people don't. We've been linked with Osimhen, Ivan Toney, Joshua Zirkzee of Bologna, and is it Victor Gyökeres? Can never pronounce his name. Apparently, they're the 4 players up front that Arsenal are looking at. Where are you at with that? And what's your preferred one?
Yeah, I feel like out of all of them, the one that stands out the most as like the perfect option for us is Osimhen. I feel like Arsenal need somebody that can, again, occupy center backs, that has a physical presence, but also it would be nice to have pace in behind as well. He's not like clinical. Like, I feel like as long as he gets a lot of chances, he's going to score loads of goals, which he would for us. So I'm not going to say that I haven't seen him miss chances, because I have, but everybody does. So Osimhen would be probably like my top choice. The biggest red flag for him, though, is that he is a sick note, and I'm tired of people that are not fit.
We've got a lot of them.
Yeah, so just know if we get Osimhen, there are going to be plenty of streams of me bitching and moaning and complaining about this guy not being available, because it doesn't usually go in the other direction. I know people are like, yeah, but Thomas Partey, he came to us and he was never injured, and now he's injured. I'm like, yeah, but that's the other direction. When have we when have we seen players that are injury prone become uninjury prone? Like, it's very unlikely. So I would imagine that he's going to stay injured. So that annoys me a little bit, but he would be my top choice just on paper. Now, I really love the Gyökeres or whatever his name is. He looks the part. If you watch him play full matches, he looks like a player that can go do damage. And you never know how anybody is going to adapt to Arteta's way of play, because it's incredibly, like, it's a difficult way of play. You have to be a very smart player to, like, get it down. And some players,
very intricate.
Exactly. And some players adapt quicker than others. But what I feel like you can kind of predict in some players is how they're going to adapt to English football. And one thing I do like about Gyökeres is he has played English football. Like, it wouldn't be his first time in England playing. Like, he played at Coventry, and he did really, really well there. So, sorry, I know that was like a really
fine. Everyone's got a phone. Continue, man. It's cool.
Yeah,
if anyone's got an issue around a phone making noise, they're sad, man. But go on.
But I really do think that he, 30 goals already this season, 10 assists or something like that, makes a lot of his own shot creating actions, mops up all the defensive mistakes, is a great striker of the ball, takes penalties. Like, he just looks like the kind of striker that Arsenal need. He doesn't have the pace, but if I had to choose between like a Zirkzee that has the pace and the flair, but doesn't have the clinical finishing, or somebody who lacks the pace but is more clinical, I'd probably lean towards the clinical guy, because you can find pace other places. You can get a pacey winger instead. So Gyökeres would probably be my second option, and then Zirkzee, Toney, like somewhere over here, because we don't know a lot about Zirkzee. He's just kind of come out of nowhere. He looks like an Arsenal player, if that makes sense. Like, he has the flair and all of that, but is he going to score enough goals? And then you have Toney, who stinks, so that's it.
Do you have anything positive to say about Ivan Toney, playing devil's advocate? Like, let's just say we signed him. Okay, we know you don't rate him. We all know you're a fair person. If he showed the quality, you give him his praises.
Yeah, of course.
And as I said, we know you don't rate him, but is there any sort of things you like about Ivan Toney if he did sign for the club?
I think, okay, I like that he's like a dead ball specialist for sure. I feel like we lack that in our team. We haven't scored directly from a free kick since 2021 against Burnley.
That must have been Odegaard, isn't it, really?
Yeah, exactly. So he's definitely somebody that can do that for sure. He's a good penalty taker, and I do prefer my number 9 to take penalties. Like, I know that we're doing this rotational thing, but like maybe I'm just old fashioned, like just get the number 9 up there to take it. So I do like that about him. Like, it's not that I kind of put a little extra mustard on it because it's just funny. Like, I just like to poke the bear sometimes. Like, I don't hate Toney the way that, maybe people think I do. I just feel like we would be making a mistake. So I just need to put that out there. I don't think he definitely makes us better, but I feel like there's a clear ceiling there, and I don't really feel like that's what Arsenal deserve. I feel like Arsenal deserves somebody that could potentially be top 1, 2, and 3 in their position. And I just don't think he has the potential to be that. So that's why I'm like so against him. And then because like when you say it, it rattles people. So it's fun.
Do you think there's a striker that is like, because I think we spoke about this on your stream, Ivan Toney, me and you could talk about him all day. Victor Osimhen, we're both in agreement that he would be great for us. Zertsky, I think there's something good about him, but then I share a lot of your concerns. He's a bit raw. He's a bit of a wild card. I do like Mr. Victor. He's at Sporting Lisbon. The more I research about him, but I don't know him religiously. Yeah. And then you throw in the Vlahovic's, the Ollie Watkins, and the many strikers. Do you think there is one striker that 100% convinces Arsenal fan base that is the man? Because they're all very different, and we just spoke about Arteta's system. I don't know.
Yeah, they're all very different and offer different things, but I think Arteta is very flexible. So I think there's a world where we could have gotten Vlahovic and it would have worked, but also we've gotten Jesus and it's worked. I feel like that's the beauty of having a really good manager. But in terms of like, does anybody fully convince? I feel like if Osimhen wasn't injury prone, I'd be 100% convinced on him. I just feel like he just has the mentality, the star quality, the finishing, he just has like,
as well.
Yeah, his link up play is decent, which I feel like that's all we need. We need like bare minimum. I genuinely don't think we need another false 9. I feel like we need somebody that could do the bare minimum in link up play, but their main focus is putting the ball in the back of the net. And I feel like he has all the elements to be like one of the best in his position for years, so he's the one to me that stands out the most, but there's still question marks. You just never know. And that's why it's up to the club to make take an educated risk on one of these guys, because they have to get it right. It's no matter who we buy, it's going to be expensive. So It's up to the club to get it right. But I do feel like you can get Osimhen or Gyökeres or maybe a couple of others and still get better, because I think our center forward position, it wouldn't take that much to improve it. It's just how much we improve it. And that's where I feel like bringing in an Osimhen versus a Toney makes a huge difference. Because you can bring in Toney, he's going to make us better. But how much better is the question.
How much better would Osimhen make us then in comparison to Toney then, based on what you said? And what when you say make us better, beyond the obvious, which would be goals, like what is it then to someone who might be ignorant to what you're saying?
I feel like make us better in terms of like Toney is definitely going to make us, like, whether Jesus is there or not, we're going to maintain the level. We're going to have somebody that can take those dead balls. Like he's going to make sure that we maintain a title challenge. Like I feel like we would challenge for the title next season with Toney and the team. That's where we're at. Is he going to be the type of striker that we're going to, be able to go to, like, play in the Champions League and be the difference in a knockout match? No, I don't think so. Is he somebody where, because again, like I know that he scored at the Etihad, but I feel like it's different when you're Arsenal, because Man City are going to up their game against us, where they probably are not up for it as much against Brentford. So is he going to go to the Etihad and Anfield and be the difference? I don't know. Where I think Osimhen probably is that player that if you go to the Bernabeu, you'll feel very confident that you have an opportunity to beat them, which is what I'm thinking about. I feel like it's very small margins here. We're talking about the difference between 2 and 5%, you know? So I don't think Tony would be like awful in our team. I just don't know if he's going to be the difference maker, because Arsenal need that. I feel like in those games with the small margins where we need to win it, I do feel like we lack somebody like against Porto, that even if we're playing really shit, like we'll win because we had this player in our team. Right now, if we play bad, we're losing. And I feel like we need somebody where even if we're not playing our best, can get us over the line because they just have it. I don't think Tony's that. I feel like Osimhen's that. How do you feel about it? Do you feel like Osimhen has that star quality that gets you out of jail free card kind of thing? Or do you
Yeah,
feel like
no.
I'm gassing it a bit?
No, because you didn't help Nigeria, but we all know AFCON isn't the best barometer to judge a player. But I agree with that point, because I think you said it as well. I think when it comes to the Champions League, of course, it's about tactics and all of that, but it is about individual moments. You look at Porto, the guy who scored against us is one of the best statistically performing players in the Champions League at the point. He obviously bought a yard of space. Bit of a mistake from us, but he bought a ticket and he won the lottery in it. So I do agree with that. Where I look at the Porto game, I think we need to create, but then it comes back to what you said, that maybe someone who could just create something for themselves, we get goals. So I definitely agree with that. I just feel it comes back to for me in that I just don't know what Arteta wants from a striker, because being linked, I'm sure the names that are put in the press and what Arsenal are actually looking for to a degree would be different. But when you look at Tony, Vlahovic, Osimhen, Zertsky, Ivan Ferguson, this guy, that guy, obviously there's similarities, but they're all very different. So all I know is we need to sign a striker. As you said, it's going to cost a lot of money, so we need to get it right. Whether we're buying a Premier League proven guy or someone else, they're all going to present an element of risk. The only thing I would say with Osimhen is that I think he needs a lot of chances before he bags. I do think there's a bit of an Italian tax. And as you said, there is injuries. I said it there, and that it's going to be expensive. And I'm sure if you ask many Arsenal fans, 3 key areas they would address in the squad would be central midfield, potentially another winger, and a striker. Do you think there is a reality where we spend over 100 million or in and around 100 million on a striker and another winger? And if we don't, could the man in question here, Jesus, essentially become a winger?
Yeah, I do think that there's probably the reality that with the amount of, because I do think Kai Havertz comes into play here. I do, because he is going to be probably the most expensive squad player you could have with the wages and what we spent on him. But I do think that, if, like, let's say we buy Osimhen or Tony or something, and we have, they get injured, Kai Havertz immediately becomes a very good, option as center forward too. So I think with it being a lot more crowded up there, I do see an opportunity for Jesus to be moved out to the wing, which would be strange and kind of like, damn, because like that's why he left City. But that's just the reality of Jesus. Is I just don't think that he's necessarily proven that he is that number 9 that he says that he is. I do feel like he's kind of proven the doubters wrong, that nobody really questioned whether or not he was a good forward. It was whether or not he was a good 9. And I don't necessarily feel like he's changed that narrative. And I care about Arsenal more than I care about Gabriel Jesus's feelings. Like, he would make a better wing option right now. I feel for what we need. So that could change, but I feel like he'll play well across the front 3 in the next season or 2 for us.
I'm with you with that, man. In that, Jesus, obviously the big caveat was, you don't play as much as you would like to. You could take that quality you have and play up front. He does say I need to score goals, but when he sits there and says goal, and I am taking what he said out of context. When you say goals are not a strong point of mine, again, I'm taking it out of context. That does kind of rub me up the wrong way, where you look at someone like Tony who says, I always believe I'm going to score. I think we should just take Jesus for what he's good at, which is the Brazilians, and he can get, he's good for about 10, 11 plus goals. I actually think you would see Jesus score a lot more goals if the burden of being a goal scorer isn't on him. And obviously, as we said on your stream, now the biggest thing with Jesus, for whatever reason, is now these injuries. Fair enough, he got injured at the World Cup. I won't write him off for that. But once you hear, knees are being drained and things like that, it is quite scary, simply put, man. And again, me and you have spoken about, and I'd say the only thing one major thing that's going to stop this football club going forward is the vast majority of our players, they do pick up knocks. Now, every footballer gets injured, but how many players are you going to bet your life in this team are going to be fit? Kind of what you said about, about 4 players are the only undisputed starters. You know Saka's going to be there. You know Rice is going to be there. You know to a degree Odegaard, Saliba and Gabriel going to be there. But then Fabio Vieira, Jorginho, Smith, Kai Havertz as well. But Fabio Vieira, Zinchenko, Jorginho, Tomiyasu, Timber with a big injury, Thomas Partey, Reece Nelson even, Gabriel Jesus. A lot of our players pick up knocks. And if it's not out for a long period, it's 1 or 2 weeks. And Arteta said we've got one of the finished squads. I'm sure you would agree next season we can't keep having this really if we want to go to where we want to get to. I want to ask you another question as well, just because it's popped up. Shout out to yourself, Rayte, because you was on Jesse's stream as well. He said, do you think Arsenal should cash in on Martinelli? I think he struggled the most in his system. I think he means Arteta's system. Who do you think would be an ideal replacement? No clue on ideal replacement. I'm not selling Martinelli, but where are you at with that, Jess?
Nah, we're not. Getting rid of Martinelli just makes no sense when you see that we have several other players that we're not there yet. I don't think we're there where Martinelli and Jesus need to go or anything like that. I definitely think we're in the, you know, Nketiah, these guys, start looking at them. But like Martinelli probably just is having like a less successful season. I don't feel like one season or, you know, whatever means that we need to start looking away from him. What we do need is another player. I feel like that's so important, which I think naturally will knock him down the pecking order just a little bit. My feeling on Martinelli has always been that Arteta likes him, but I don't think Arteta is sold on him being our starter forever. And that's why
frustrates the manager.
Yeah, and that's why we're constantly being linked to other wingers that can play in that position. Like we were like, I've argued with people about this forever. Just because we did not get Mudryk does not mean we did not want him. We wanted him badly. Arteta is like, even like Gunnerblog came out with the article.
And even Pedro Neto and Rafinha. So that explosive winger is being earmarked for the squad.
Like they
maybe to even ease the burden on Martinelli and obviously Saka as well.
Yeah, and like get somebody that naturally plays in that position. I feel like Saka is so good and well-rounded that he can make the wing position look natural for him, where Martinelli is so much so a striker that it's obvious in certain circumstances that we don't have like a natural winger. And